my introduction part 2, I guess. So, I'm reading from this book, ADHD 2.0. And the reason I'm going to read from this book, I would have loved to have, like, better, citing my sources kind of thing. Because I am really good at, like, remembering certain things, like if it's my hyper focus, I'll be pretty good at remembering it, but I also, have ADHD, so my memory's not that great, and I actually, like, probably remember stuff wrong a lot, so I want to try to be as accurate as possible, right? Like, cite my sources and credible and whatever. So I haven't done the work right now on this. Maybe I'll come back and edit it someday, add it or whatever. But for now, one of the things about ADHD that's really hard in our current society is that it's very, like, it's very much thought of as almost like made up, like, of course people agree that like really severe, if somebody has it really severe, like, and it's really obvious, they agree, like, oh, okay, yeah, like that person does. But most people aren't super severe, right? And so if you're not super severe, I think people don't think that, they think you're being lazy, or they think you need more discipline or more training or whatever. And so, and then they also, one of the things that make people not, I mean, this is just my assumptions, I don't know if this is correct or not, but it seems to be common that people will not believe it because the numbers are growing so rapidly, right? Like diagnosis rates. Or since the 80s, when these two doctors, they wrote another book called Driven to Distraction, which I have it somewhere, but I have it in my room, in my closet right now. So I don't have it next to me, but it's right over there. But anyways, so it's like the reason that, like, the numbers have just, sorry, these keep falling out of my ear. The number of diagnoses have, like, gone up considerably, especially in recent years, right? And then there is a lot of abuse of the medications. It's my understanding that the abuse is mostly done by neurotypical people who don't have ADHD. And if you don't have ADHD, then, and you take those medications, it will lead to addiction, and all the, like, unhealthy relationship with the medication. But if you do have ADHD, it keeps your dopamine levels still within a healthy range and not an unhealthy range, because when you have ADHD, your dopamine levels are quite low and deficient, right? And then a neurotypical would be here in the middle, and then someone with addiction problems would be way up here, like your dopamine levels would get way up here. And so with somebody with ADHD, if they're on medication, then it just puts them, like, at a neurotypical level, ideally, right? Like, of course there is titration, which means, like, it's a long process. Typically it's long, sometimes it's not, sometimes you're lucky and it's quick, but typically it's a long process of figuring out the right medication, the right dosages, all that kind of stuff. So once you're titrated, like, your goal is to get you here at a neurotypical level, and then it's very safe at that point, right? And that's coming from this book, not from me, and from other doctors, right? But if a neurotypical person is taking these medications, it's bumping them up, like, by the same degree, but that puts you up in the unsafe range of addiction and all that, and abuse and stuff like that. So but it does result in, you know, hyper productivity, and so that's why it is abused. But anyways, I digress. I'm just, you know, the queen of tangents over here. But basically, like, um, there are really high numbers in this country, and if you look at there's another doctor that I don't have her book with me right now, but same thing, I own her book, and she's kind of, I like to, you know, I like to try to be as balanced as possible, not be super biased, and so she's another doctor who is really well known in the ADHD world because of her, like, kind of the other side of things. Like, she's very, not anti-medication, but she feels like we shouldn't, like, that the numbers aren't as high as they act, you know, like the numbers aren't showing accuracy. She's just basically the other side of things. And so she tries to just not use medication at all if you can help it, like treat it naturally, right? Which I would say in a perfect world, you know, under ideal circumstances, that would be the right thing to do. I feel like that's what my childhood was. It was very idyllic, utopic. It was magical and amazing and wonderful and spectacular. And I think it was very neurodivergent friendly. I think all the things that we did and the people I was with and everything, it was very nurturing for neurodivergence, and it was very geared towards all the things you would do to treat it naturally, you know. So that's a big reason why I am late diagnosed, is because I didn't need any kind of medication or other help for, you know, for all of my childhood and adolescence. It wasn't until I went to college and was on my own that I struggled. So this video is already getting way too long. So I'm gonna start another one. I don't want to make them super long. I love watching super long videos because it's my special interest, hyper focus, you know. But I know most people that doesn't fit into their life, and that's okay. So, and I want to try to keep them a little shorter if I can. I know 7.5 minutes isn't short, but we're gonna try.